Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm here with my Marie's Masters palette and I've been playing around with the new brush that I got at Hobby Lobby actually on clearance, and this is the Princeton Summit Round number 10, and I thought we could do some loose florals today and kind of abstracted and just have fun with some loose painting with this round brush. This is a synthetic and it's been kind of fun to play with. It holds a good bit of water and it's been pretty fun. So let's do a painting together. So I'm dipping into my alizarin crimson and my brilliant purple, and I'm getting a nice dark rich color here. And I'm mixing it up right here in my tray. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm working on B watercolor paper today too. This is 100% cotton and it is 140 pounds. So I'm just taking my round brush and I've got it saturated with that paint and I'm making some dots right there. Now I'm going to rinse my brush and blot it. And then I'm going to come over here and make some petals, just like this. And I'm going to come around and just really let that color come out and just blend into the side. And we're going to make several of these. So I'm touching my brush to the edge and just letting it come right out onto my page for a very loose flower. Just like that. I'm going to come in and do the same thing again right here. And I'm dotting it on my paper. I want there to be some whiteness in the middle there, and also I am just making sure I get a good load of paint. So same thing here, just coming around, getting that petal done. And these are very easy to do. And you just get your blot, come out, and that paint will just slowly blend out into your flower petal. Just like that. This right here is a little bit dark, and it's dried enough where I can take my paper towel and just pick up a little bit of that color. And then I'm going to just go over it again and draw it out a bit, just like that. And what I'm doing is I'm mopping and then I'm blotting my brush. Perfect. Okay, let's make another one. How about this one? We make from the side. So what I'll do is just come right here and make a couple of petals just like this. And then we could even have a bud right here. And I'm blotting often to the side. All right. I'm going to get a little bit more color over here, just like this. And you can see just how easy these petals are. They don't have to be perfect. And just don't worry about it. I didn't even have to blot that one up there. It was just a personal preference. And I'm just letting the tip of my brush go into that flower. And I'm going to blot some of this up. Okay. And why don't we make one more? And last but not least, let's make one flower bud up here. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do next is mix up a nice green. And I'm going to grab some sap green here. Get my brush a little bit wetter. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of this red that we have right next to it and just deepen that up a bit. Just like that. And I really love that green color. So I'm going to pick where I did my first flower, which is this one. And I'm going to kind of go in order, but I'm going to do something similar. So I'm going to dab in here with some of my green in a couple of spots. And then I'm just going to sweep this out. And I'm going to come in and just let that color blend right out off of the page or in its own little areas, right around the flower petals. And again, I'm dropping in my water there because it's going to act a bit like a shadow. And it'll kind of come out from behind those petals. And I'm going to let this come over behind that flower. And I'll add some more here. Just like that. And I'm just going to keep on blending this around. And I don't need my whole area covered with color. I'm just going to work on some of it. I'm going to blend up some more color here. No need to rush. Okay. And if you need to turn your paper, you absolutely can. And I'm going to just do the same thing and let that color come right out. And I'm going to loosely outline my flowers with the petals. Just so we can get some interest. And I might even drop in some color. That's okay too. We're just having that effect there with kind of a dreamy green background. And it's going to give you the idea that there's some leaves kind of peeking out from behind these flowers. So in a way, it's sort of like negative painting. And it can be lighter in some areas and darker in some others. And you just kind of go and feel your way through and really kind of work intuitively in a way. I'm going to add some green here. And let this come out. I'm going to scrub a little bit here where I have that outline and get that nice soft edge. And I want to make sure I get some space here between these two buds that we made. Just like that. And then I'm going to just blot some more there at the edge of my color and bring this right around. And lastly, I'm just going to add just a little bit right there. Turn my page a bit and just let this spread. If you need water, you can always add water. Soften up any edges. And here's the beginning of our flowers. Now I'm going to come back in. I'm going to just pull over some more of this red, and I'm going to go into my Payne's Gray and add that, and a little bit more of that sap green. And I'm going to make some loose stems and maybe some leaves kind of coming out. And I'm just going to be sort of strategic where I've got some things and have just some random areas of color. And you can use your brush and make some different marks. If you wanted to press down and then come up and make a couple of leaf shapes, you can do that. And then I'm going to come straight into this sap green to lighten it up a bit, maybe even add a little bit of this yellow ochre, a little bit of water, and now I've got a lighter green, and I can come through and just make a few more marks, just like that. Now I can also come back in and soften up some more of this with water. We can blot it, we can spread it around, make some soft edges, some hard edges, whatever we want. I can come right back through here, do a little bit of scrubbing. We can do some blotting if we want to. I've just picked up a paper towel here. Let's say you didn't like something, you can add some different colors. I think I'll add some deeper green here for a deeper shadow, and I might even come around these petals here, just like that. Okay. Now my flowers are starting to get a little bit drier. So I'm going to add another little layer of color. And I've got this nice sort of purpley red going on here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip into my, well, it's actually a purple red color in my palette. And I might add, let's see, a little bit of this brilliant purple, and we'll deepen that up just a bit. So I'm going to dot into a couple of these flower spots. And on this one, we're still a little bit damp, but that's okay because I'm going to do the same thing and just deepen up with a second color tone. And this flower bud up here has a little bit of cauliflower going on, so that way I can kind of fix that too. So I'm blotting my brush, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to be a little bit more strategic and a little bit of a lighter touch. And so if I wanted to get some of my petal darker, I could. Just like that. And you can always also come in with plain water to soften any edges. This one is pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more here. I think I might add some red to that one to change the tone of it a little bit. And we're just going to deepen up that color and deepen up the petals a bit. So I'm going to go in here to the alizarin crimson. And so some of these more purple flowers, I'm going to add a second coat with a little bit more red, and I might even add a little bit of red to that also, and let a little come in through there. And so again, I'm just blotting and letting it sweep up to add that second pop of color. And then we can get some more of that nice texture on our flowers. And I'm blotting very often. I'm going to help sweep this red out a little bit so we don't get cauliflower. Dry brushing is kind of a nice technique here also. Now let's go into this one, which is pretty dry. I'm going to pick up a little bit more color, just like that. And we're just going to sweep it out again. And if you go over, you can always blot your brush and sweep it back. Just like this. I'm blotting my brush well and sweeping it back. And here I have a bit of a hard edge. I'm just going to soften that a little bit. So you can see how you can get those different really pretty tones. And I think I'm going to do that down at the bottom. So I'm adding some red. I actually meant to add it there, but that's okay. Okay. So I'll just go in and sweep it out. And I want to soften this up a little bit, I can. But sometimes the hard brush edge too, if you're going to do dry brush, that texture that leaves is really pretty too. So try it both ways and just see what you prefer. All right. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the greenery and I'm going to go into my Payne's Gray and mix it up into a pretty dark color with the green that's left over here. And I might even mix some of this red in here. So we have a pretty dark green going on. And I'm going to come and do a couple of darker shadows from the inside. And it's going to be the same thing. I'm just going to grab some of that color and we're going to let that flow out. Just like that. This is going to give us those darker values where we can have more of that contrast. And I'm going to use that in some of these areas where I would imagine it would be much darker shadows. But this is abstract, so. Okay, I'm going to go back into that Payne's Gray, mix up some more of this. Add a little bit of water because it's a little bit of a dry mixture, so I think that works. And come out here. And same thing, I'm just sweeping that brush. And this is just building up those layers of interest. And I'm working on areas that are either dry or mostly dry so that we don't have too much bleed out going on into colors where we don't want it. So I'm sort of picking my areas strategically here. But I'm building up the contrast of our abstract. And you don't have to come out from the corners. I mean, I'm doing that here for the most part, but you can come out from anywhere. Let me add a little stem. And we can add some more hard edges for some greenery. And if we go over a place where we've already got some water, we could get some really interesting effects that way too, because some of it will spread out and some of it will stay in that hard line. I'm going to let this come into shadow, but what I'll do is I'll just sweep this side. And maybe right here. And so we just get kind of an interesting look here with our different colors and patterns. I think what I'm going to do is add some darkness here and give this a bit of a sweep and let that come out as well. And we're just building up that contrast, and I think this is looking pretty gorgeous. I'm going to come out here so that we can have a nice full bouquet, and I'm just going to let that blend out just like that. And then maybe we have a little bit of darkness here. Okay, this flower I'm going to add another little layer to. I think it could use a little bit more darkness down there at the bottom. And maybe we can differentiate some of these petals. So I'll do a little bit of that there. Okay. Now I'm going to grab my smaller brush, and this is a number 2 round or a liner. It's a Royal and Lane nickel. And I was thinking I might go into Payne's Gray, but actually what I think I'll do is go into my Umber Deep, which is a very, very dark brown color. And I'm going to dot in here to make my flower centers. And I might just dry brush a little bit of that out so we get some texture coming out into our flowers, but not too much. Don't want to overdo it. And I'm leaving some of that white in there too. Whoops. Like that's a little bit too much coming out right there. Okay. That looks nice to me. Okay, same thing here. And if you have a little bit of your flowers wet still, but not too wet, it could have some interesting blending effects. So it would be interesting to kind of try out a bit. I'm going to do just some brushes out from the center here. Nice. I think we might have ourselves a done painting. I'm going to hold this up to the camera and we're going to do a close-up, and this will continue drying and get a little bit lighter, but this is mostly what it's going to look like, and It's gorgeous if you ask me. So I hope you enjoyed this video and painting along with me. And I hope you subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and have a great day today. Until next time, keep creating.